What's up guys, we are on site here doing a 50+ camera install and core switching upgrade for a school. There's a lot going on today and this is actually going to be part one of a two-part series. Today we're going to show you everything from pre-cable. We're starting to put in some switching and mount some cameras. There's a lot of things happening. We're going to be penetrating a firewall, installing some pipe, finishing up some of our cables and getting ready to dress. And let's get into it. Welcome to the server room and MDF for the main building. There's actually 3 network locations in this facility. This is the main one, and as you can see, it needs some TLC, and that's actually one of the big parts of this project. Not only are we installing cameras, but when we did our initial site evaluation, we realized that the UPSs that you get at Home Depot just aren't going to cut it. So we got some new APCs coming in. We're going to be doing a rack cleanup, so this is going to look just like all of our normal brand new installs, even though this is a retrofit.
As Cody just walked you guys through what this rack kind of does, if we kind of take a look right over here, we'll see that we have fiber coming into this rack. So we have 2 locations. We have the library and an IDF. Unfortunately, there's only OM1 fiber ran to it, so we'll only be able to hit a gig on the backbone for most of it, since it does exceed that length. They're probably about, I'd say, 150 meters away from this location. So unfortunately, we will only be at that 1 gig backbone, but that should be more than sufficient for what they use on a daily workload. And as you can see, we kind of have some APCs on the ground here, and it's just generally not up to standard. There is some structured cabling that a couple people did before us, which is actually really good. You can kind of see it come in on the ladder and everything, and it actually looks really nice. So we're going to try and take care of that because we know how hard those people work to get that in here. But we're just going to do some general cleanup and some love for this place. But yeah, right now we're going to go ahead and show you guys. We're going to drill down. We have a 2-inch pipe we're going to be putting in, and we're going to show you guys how we install those and the proper firewalling techniques to make sure that all of that pipe work and all the cables are safe. So let's get into it.
But whenever you're penetrating a firewall, it's important to make sure that you check your local city and county and potentially even state ordinances, not to mention the NEC, which is the National Electrical Code. Make sure we're following all those procedures and make sure we're in code. But in essence, and for the most part, what is standard in the country is making sure we seal it in such a way that smoke cannot get through. And the way that we do it is with 2 products, fire caulk and fire putty. Fire caulk is a hard sealant. It's used to seal the outside of it, and fire putty is meant to be somewhat easily removed so that we can pull future cables. Now, you can technically just get a 2-inch piece of metal pipe and install that and caulk around the outside of the pipe and put putty on the inside. But if you want to kind of upgrade and make things look really nice, I'd recommend getting something like this. This is actually a product that is designed specifically for penetrating firewalls in a safe manner that is going to be really just a level of quality that goes above a metal pipe. And this is actually made by a gentleman who owns this company called UniFi Products. Super cool guy, American made. He shipped this to me like in 3 days, and the price point, if you've ever done any shopping around for fire caulk, fire putty, or anything fire related, the pricing is just through the roof. And this was a really good price point. I think with shipping, this was less than $100. And this is really nice. The way it works is we basically are going to put this pipe through the floor, and on one end we'll have each bracket here to kind of seal it. We'll put fire caulk around it on both sides, and then on the inside, after we run our cables there, we'll put putty in, and that just keeps smoke from getting through in the event there is a fire. Now, you guys can see we made a big mess, but we prepared for it, we planned ahead, we put a tarp down. Whenever you guys are doing installs, I know we like to think about installing switching, access points, we love to think about cameras and technical configuration and VLANs, but we often don't think about this. And it's okay to make a mess on a job site. It is a job site, and as long as we tell our clients ahead of time, hey, we're going to be drilling through walls, we're making a mess. As long as we clean it up once we leave the job site, and when we leave today, you're going to see this classroom will look exactly like it did before we got here, and perhaps even better. And that's always the unified IT way. We want to make things look better than when we came at the very least. And so what we're going to do now is we're going to get this guy installed, and then we can start bringing up more of our cables in and sending them up to the MDF. All right, guys, now that we got that nice massive hole drill, let's go ahead and talk about some of the cabling we're doing. Now, we're in the stage of this project called pre-cable. It's a little bit confusing because it actually does involve cable. It's not before cable. But pre-cable is essentially the phase where we are pulling all of the cable and getting it ready for dressing, termination, and testing, and then finally labeling. But pre-cable, we're doing things a little bit backwards. Normally we would pull from the network closet, wherever that is, and to the rest of the building. Because we're actually in a classroom, and then right above us is a network closet, which is why we had to drill that pipe. We're actually pulling all of our cables into here, and we've measured to make sure we have the right amount of length. And then we're going to be pulling them all upstairs and then dressing with the existing cabling. So this is an active job site, so we're going to kind of see how things go, but let's go for a walk. So we have 4 cables or 3 cables here now. There's a lot more coming in. One of the challenges is we like to work on the weekends in order to, well, it's better for our crew and just make, not disrupt our clients. So we actually have to kind of clean things up as we go. We have some more cables here, and there's actually a lot more coming from the attic. This was actually our primary pull point. We're gonna be pulling back that way. Every classroom is getting a camera, and so we actually have 53 drops that we're gonna have to do just on this part of the building alone. It's gonna be a lot. We're actually gonna have to stack 2 NVRs, it'd be pretty cool. So you're going to see a lot of this. This is pull string. Pull string is super useful because if you know that you're going to have to do multiple cable pulls in the same direction, you know, level 1 is pull several cables at once. Level 2 is pull a pull string. So when you need to pull it again, you just pull that string right through. And we got this in blue. You can get this in green or in or orange. We got blue because UniFi IT. This is one of the classrooms we're pulling to. We actually have a lot of cables here. And if you look over here, the reason why we have so much slack is these cables are actually going to go outside. Now, whenever we run cameras outside, we want to install EMT, which is a metal piping. It's normally what electricians use, but we're going to use it to run low voltage. It keeps the cables protected from weather, and it creates a nice weather seal from where the cable exits the building all the way to where the camera is going to be installed. Here's one of the locations where we're going to be adding some cameras outside. Now, there was already a camera here, and so we had some piping that was already ran, and it was 3/4 inch pipe, so we were actually able just barely to fit some of the cables we needed for the additional cameras. And we did some work here. We got these nice plastic boxes. We have the rubber tubing to make it easier for pulling cables, and it's more flexible. We don't have to get a bender to bend metal pipe. Bending metal pipe is absolutely an art form, and no one on our team really does enough to do it really well. So we try to use rubber or plastic piping wherever we can. Now, some of you are thinking, man, plastic boxes? Why did you put plastic boxes up there instead of metal? 2 reasons. One, the cost of steel and aluminum is outrageous right now, and so we're saving literally $15 per box to not have to do metal boxes. I think metal boxes are about 20 a piece right now, and the plastic ones were about $6 a piece, which is still pretty expensive. The other reason is that in Florida, with metal, you're going to get rust. With plastic, you're going to get sun corrosion, and the fact that this is protected from the sun in this awning means it's probably going to last a little bit longer than metal would. Now, we still have metal pipe in other places, and we'll kind of show you how that looks. Now, in 3/4 inch pipe, you can probably fit 4 to 5 cables. 4 is still pretty tight. 5 if you're really able to do it. You can kind of see we have another camera going right here, and that's how we're actually going to mount these. You guys are probably wondering. We have a mounting bracket, or the faceplate that's going to go on here, and this is going to be all bullets outside. Everything out here is bullets except for what we'll get to later, and so we're just going to mount the bullet to that wall plate there, and we're just going to RJ45 in it. One of the things that we've been doing for the longest time is doing keystones everywhere. So traditionally, we would actually put a keystone in there and then a patch cable, but one of the philosophies we've implemented, or made an effort to implement, is Elon Musk's manufacturing and design philosophy. Delete, simplify, optimize, accelerate, automate. And I've been guilty many times of trying to automate things. As a tech guy, I love automation, I love scripting, I love all these things, but sometimes the worst thing a smart person can do, and I'm not saying I'm smart, but the worst thing a smart person can do is to optimize something that shouldn't exist. And for category 6A cable, where you got that thick shielding, it makes a ton of sense to put a keystone on it because it's a lot harder to work with. But in this case, we actually have moved back to just RJ45 male connectors for cameras. And access points we will do keystones on, but for cameras, we're going to RJ5 right into the camera. Again, delete. We can simplify things. It's less things to fail. And when you're doing 50 cameras plus on a job site, times however many clients you have, that can scale up to a lot of repair opportunities, especially when you offer a warranty, as you should when you're doing an install. There's going to be a camera here for this garden, which is really cool. They're going to be able to keep an eye on that and see if there's a deer hopping the fence and taking some garden produce that it should not be. And you can kind of see here where we expanded here. So this was originally not here. We put in what's called an LB. An LB is just a device that electricians should be familiar with that is used to gain access to the cables. So on one side there you see a plate we can open. And this is a special LB because it has a T in it where it's basically a T so we can come out for that cable. If you come back this way, you can kind of see some of the metal EMT. Now, we did not install this actually. This was existing, and that's one of the things that is trickier to price, but is really important, is to be able to utilize the existing infrastructure that's in place, whether it's pipe or cable or racks or patch panels. Use what you can that's existing, and if it needs to be replaced, then we will replace it. And we're doing that here with UPSs and some patch panels that are a little bit older and really not up to speed. But if you can help it, use the existing equipment. You don't need to run things new. Just it adds cost to the line item. So let's walk over and we'll show you the library. All right, guys, we've shown you the server room and upstairs and drilling that through that firewall, shown you some of the outdoor pipe work. Now we're going to head over to the library where we're going to see an area that is not quite done, but is the furthest done in terms of dressing. We've got some of the dressing done. We're getting ready to do terminations. Actually, we've done some of our terminations already. And the really cool bit, you're going to see we have acquired enough for this entire campus to do UniFi's new 24-port silver patch panel. It's really cool, nice and uniform. It's really going to stand out, I think, and I think the client will appreciate the nice aesthetic when they walk into the server room. They'll never experience something like that, but they certainly will appreciate it once they walk in. Let's go. All right, guys, welcome to the library. This is the smallest network rack on the whole campus, but it's an important one nonetheless. This is going to provide security cameras for kind of some unique spots that this building can get. And as with all of the network locations in this facility, we are going to be installing the new UniFi 24-port silver patch panels. Now, a patch panel is a patch panel, but the really cool thing about these is they match the UniFi equipment, which is, even though it's not going to offer any performance upgrade whatsoever, it's really going to give the client, I think the client will appreciate the attention to detail and the uniformness that this provides once they tour the project upon our completion. It's little things like that. It's that extra 10% that really stand out when you want to keep, getting those clients that appreciate higher workmanship. This is the rack. As you can see, we got a box here to make sure we catch all those keystones as they fall, the wires as from the keystones. This is all existing dressing, but we're repunching the patch panels. We're getting rid of these older styles where you have the punch blocks. These are really nice because they're relatively easy to punch. The keystones are a lot more difficult to install. The disadvantage of these, in the normal way that you would patch them, is you typically run your cables from one side to the other, and then you will fill them in, basically waterfall them in. The problem is if you need to service a cable that's buried, which can happen, you have to really work at getting at that cable or potentially undo the existing ones. The nice thing about a keystone patch panel is that you can get to that one single cable anytime to test. And cables do have issues. Maybe, you usually want to start at a patch panel if something maybe got caught in the attic or and there was an issue with it. Being able to troubleshoot, confirm it's not an issue with the patch panel, super great. But this is the rack, it's one of the smaller ones. Again, we're using the existing rack, just doing a switching upgrade. We're going to put a 1500 VA UPS in here and a 48-port switch. We're going with all 48 ports, gives them plenty of room for growth, which we expect to happen. And so you can kind of see we have fiber coming in here from, again, as Matthew said, it's only OM 100, or excuse me, OM1, there's no such thing as OM 100. It's OM1, which means we are limited to a gig, so that is unfortunate, but we are going to be bonding them together, which would be really nice. And you'll see more of that in our technical walkthrough in part 2. Well, hey guys, thanks for watching this video. Again, this is just part 1 of a 2-part series. Part 2, we're going to get into the technical configuration. You're going to see a lot more of the things I certainly enjoy, and you're going to get to see the final solution. But of course, this is all part of it. Drilling through walls, running cable, weather sealing, piping, that is all an important part of the technical integration process. And we are super excited to get to partner with this school and help make their campus more secure and make their network infrastructure more reliable. But if you guys need IT consulting services, whether it's network, security, voice, or Apple IT, reach out. We'd love to help. You can go to unifiedit.tech and reach out to us directly. And if you know anyone else who needs IT consulting services, we do have a referral program. You can go to unifiedit.tech/referral to learn more, and we'll catch you guys in the next one.